Did you see the shift in the real estate market? If you hadn't noticed, there's been a divergence between supply and demand that we haven't seen in quite a while. Let's show you what's going on. I'm Jim with the Bishop team, bringing you the real estate information you need to know here in South Orange County, California. So as we talk about a lot on our channel, in addition to location and condition, supply and demand have a big impact on the real estate market. So what's going on the supply side? So on this first slide, the number of homes that were listed in April was up 15%. Now we're still down 34% compared to this time in 2019. Here, if we look year to date, there's 29% more homes that have been listed 2025 compared to 2024. Although, again, back to 2019, there's 29% fewer. So if we translate that into the number of homes for sale, you can see our supply this year compared to this time last year is up 127%. It's a big increase. A lot more homes for buyers, and for sellers, it's more competition. We'll get into some of the effects of that later, but know that supply is way up compared to last year. Now, historically, we're still down about 37% from 2019 and years prior to that, but compared to recent years, a few more choices for buyers. So this is another way to look at that same information. That black line kind of in the middle is the number of homes for sale this year compared to those last several years, which was much lower. Still below where we were, that top line in 2019, but a lot more homes or supply compared to the most recent years. So the other side of the coin is demand. One of the ways we measure that is by the number of homes in escrow. Those are buyers that are writing checks to open escrow, writing contracts, and what do we have? So for the first time in a long time, the number of homes in escrow is down significantly from the month prior. Down 17% at the beginning of May compared to the beginning of April. So that means the demand is waning a little bit sooner than we have had last year and in most recent years. In fact, you got to go all the way back to 2020 to see this low of a number of homes in escrow. And if you remember, this time in 2020, we were in full lockdown with COVID, so that's a really low number to be approaching. This is another way to look at the trends of that demand, and you can see that black line, that lower line, has come off the peak in March down to April, about a month sooner than other years. Now, it's not uncommon long-term to see March as a peak. March, April, May are usually when demand will then taper off, but you can see it's fairly aggressive drop off in the demand right now. So if you look at April closings, you can see April was down 6%, and that's in units, and down about 30% from 2019. So that slowdown in escrows has translated into a slowdown in closed sales. Escrows tend to be a leading indicator, knowing that 30 days following that, you're going to see the homes closing escrow. So remember, if we're down 17% escrow today, May and June closings will continue to be lower. In this slide, this is sales closed year to date. You can see just almost even with last year, but we've been running a little bit ahead, and now we're 1% behind the closed units year to date. And with home, again, not to harp on it, but with escrows 17% below last year, this gap will increase between sales this year and sales last year unless something changes. This is our market index. It's the ratio of homes in escrow compared to the number of homes for sale. So if you have 100 homes for sale and 50 in escrow, that's a different market than 100 homes for sale and 150 in escrow. So this takes that ratio and gives you a way of looking supply versus demand. And our black line just shot up. Increasing is a slowing market, decreasing is a rapid market. The lines that are below 0, that's where you have more homes in escrow than for sale. At one point we were 2 homes in escrow for everyone for sale. That's when we had over 20% appreciation. As that line goes up, the activity of the market slows down, appreciation slows down, and if it keeps going too high, then you'd see prices drop. Keep in mind, if you're a buyer, prices drop too much, some sellers take their homes off the market, decreasing supply to match demand, and unless there's other factors going on, like in 2008 when people couldn't voluntarily take their homes off the market because they were having financial issues. So this is our trends in interest rates. This has been the bugaboo for the market in general. You can see from a year ago, we were about 7.2%. Now we're at about 6.9%. We've been hovering around 7%, 6.75 in that range for several months now. And that's the biggest thing that has put a damper on the market on the demand side, and a little bit less on the supply side than recently. And so now the $64,000 question is, what's that done to pricing? So this is the average dollar per square foot for South Orange County. And you can see April saw a little dip. We hit the peak in March and it came back down about 3% in April compared to March. So a couple of things. We're down 3% from the peak. We're even year to date, that's the 0%. So we started at $730 a square foot in January. We're at $730 a square foot. So again, the market hasn't crashed. It went up and it came back down. So is it up, is it down? It's flat. And if we look a year ago, we're up 1%. So no huge shifts in the market. Don't try and time that because every month it kind of goes up and down. So what we've learned is that the market doesn't go in a straight line. It goes up. It has ups and downs related to economic news, tariffs, interest rates, and supply and demand ultimately affects this. So as supply has been going up, it's put a damper on that appreciation. And this kind of shows you how that's kicked in. So what does the future hold? Well, we know that this time of year is generally a fair amount of buyers in the market. It has tapered off. If interest rates continue to be 7%, it'll probably stay at a lower level. If interest rates go down, we will see more buyers coming in. But some people have to move, whether they need to add more space for a growing family, they just want to move. There's a job transfer. There's some other circumstance that's happened in their family. A death, a divorce, a marriage, things like that. Those are all still happening behind the scenes, and that's what's giving some of the demand. We've had a fair number of sellers who have chosen to move near grandkids, and that's a life circumstance that could relate to someone wanting to make a move. Who you work with matters, and we've been here for the ups, the downs, and the sideways. Can help you navigate to help you make the right move. Be sure to subscribe to our channel so that you can get updates like this and other helpful information about the real estate market. I'm Jim with the Bishop team, bringing the information you need to make the right move here in Orange County, California.